Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Yo to Bolt fam, it's the Director. Chargers fans, how are we feeling, dude? Oh, we're going to the postseason. How crazy is this, man? I don't know, dude. I told everybody. Not to pat myself in the back, I told everybody that if you didn't think this was a double-digit win squad early in the season, like week 1, week 2, you were crazy. Get with the program. This team is for real. Even, yes, in their first season retooling or rebuilding or however you want to label it, the first year of a new head coach, Jim Harbaugh, the Chargers are going to the playoffs. This is pretty significant, man, and it follows the pattern that we've been seeing with Jim Harbaugh everywhere he goes. Struggling team, needs an identity. He steps in, turns him from a bad record to a great record. Chargers now in the postseason. He did the same thing with the Niners. I mean, the only thing left, right, is just some championship stuff. Let's get to the Super Bowl. Let's get to the big game at some point down the road. But for the very first season under Jim Harbaugh, this has been absolutely fantastic. Of course, you guys know I actually did not stream this game. I was away visiting family in Alabama for my wife's family, and this is the first time I'm going to be able to talk about it with you guys here on the channel. So I'm very, very excited to go over this game with y'all. Before we do kick things off, man, shout out to the sponsor, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, definitely take advantage, man. Only a couple of weeks left. A 1 week, a game and change left. A week and change left to get in on the Underdog action, which has been absolutely insanely fun this season. Thank you, Underdog, for supporting my platform. And to all you guys out there that have been having fun with Underdog and supporting my platform along the way. Before we do kick off, hit us up with the like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. Small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification. Helps me out a lot. Let's get into it, baby. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
We're going to the playoffs, baby. The Chargers, with their recent win over the New England Patriots, have officially clinched a playoff berth. I think right now we have, the 6th seed, with a chance to move up to the 5th seed, depending on how things fall into place in the next couple of weeks. But, man, it's been a minute since we've been able to say something like this. Feels like a different sort of playoff experience than the last time that we went. We went once in the Brandon Staley era. This feels completely new and different. This feels real. This feels I don't know, just very likely to lead to what we're all hoping to be the promised land here in the next few seasons. I don't know how many Chargers fans expect to go all the way to the big game this year, but just making it into the postseason, massive accomplishment. Jim Harbaugh obviously knows what he's doing with this team. He knows how to turn the whole thing around, and we've seen the repercussions of that, which has just been awesome. Before we jump into all this stuff, man, everybody in the comments, I want to know what you got for Christmas. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody. Anybody get some cool Bolt gear out there, man? I'm going to show off some of the Mrs. Director care package that she sent my way here. Let's see. Let's go off with this first one right here. Okay, we got the nice new clean cap, right? Yeah, nice with the old school logo and stamp right there. And then check this out. I'm actually pretty stoked on this, dude. This is the first offensive lineman jersey that I've owned since Hardwick back in the day. I don't even have that one anymore. Check this out. Look at this. Woo! The big boys gotta eat too. We got ourselves a Joe Alt jersey in the house, man. Merry Christmas to all Bolt fam out there. Let me know what you got for Christmas in terms of Bolt gear in the comment section below. Now let's jump into this game, baby. The Chargers dominate, destroy, decimate, obliterate the New England Patriots here in Week 17. 40-7. 40-7. Now, you're going to take a look at both teams' win records and say, okay, the Chargers were supposed to win this game. Nobody should be too excited, right? A 3-13 team. Yeah, of course, the Chargers got this in the bag. I think it's very important. I said this the same a situation back when we played the Panthers, and I think even the Raiders week one, a couple of teams on the schedule this year. I think it's very important how you beat struggling teams in this league. You can't just go in there like Chargers teams of years past and squeak through and grab a win, by the edge of your seat and the skin of your teeth like we used to with the Brandon Staley and Anthony Lynn era. You got to go out there and stomp their lights out. And that's exactly what the Chargers did this Saturday. They went out there and stomped their lights out, man. 40-7. Watch out, baby. Here come the Bolts. This is a huge statement as far as Chargers fans are concerned, as far as the Chargers team is concerned going forward, man. This is pretty big. We'll dissect it more as we go along, but just a couple, highlighted stats to take a look down here. Justin Herbert, who didn't even play the last quarter, or most of it, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns, no sacks by the offensive line. Bravo. Bravo, as we're wearing the offensive line jersey in today's show. Got to acknowledge the big man up front, man. These guys have been absolutely insane performance for them this week. Chargers limiting Drake May, who can be a very good quarterback, just 117 yards and the touchdown. Of course, he did pick up 32 yards on the ground as well, but a very good defensive performance by the Chargers this week. Kind of moving back in to what the Chargers defense has looked like for the first stretch of the season, man. They've been one of the best defenses of the year. Maybe we start seeing that return just as we round the corner into the postseason. Welcome back, J.K. Dobbins, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, too. 76 yards and a touchdown. Some nice contributing from backups as well. 30 yards, 24 yards, and 12 yards from the quarterback there. To help round up for 147 yards on the ground this week. Very, very nice. As far as receivers are concerned, Ladd McConkey, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns, insane. Quentin Johnston, even despite, a drop here or there, had himself a pretty nice day, 48 yards, 41 for Josh Palmer. Darius Davis had a pretty big play there too. Welcome back, Will Dissly as well. Just very good offensive day. But the defense also, dude, having a fantastic performance. Derwin James had himself a week. The defensive line was going crazy. Linebackers going crazy. Just felt like a really, really good week. And then let's round it out with special teams. Cameron Dicker, the best kicker in all of football. 4 of 4, long of 41. Definitely out here showing us why Dicker, the kicker, deserves to be in the Pro Bowl. Make sure everyone, or I hope everyone, I think it's closed now, right? I hope everyone went out there and voted their butts off for Cameron Dicker and all Chargers players for this season. Now, the biggest question I always get at the top of the video, let's go ahead and take a look at it right now. Director, we clinched a playoff berth. What are we looking at in terms of like who we're going to be playing? What's the AFC looking like? Well, let's go take a look at this together. The Chargers now AFC. If we take a look at the top 4 teams, obviously these are not going to change. I think all of these teams clinching at this point. Kansas City Chiefs are the 1 seed. Bills 2 seed, absolutely destroyed the Jets today, by the way. I'm recording this halfway through the Sunday games. Ravens clinching. I do believe they clinched the AFC North. Texans at the top of the AFC South. And then we're going to have these last few teams in here in the hunt. The Broncos likely to take the last spot there. 61% though. Nothing's a guarantee. The Bengals, very motivated to win. Going up against the Broncos actually next week. Could sneak in at the last second to take that 7th seed. But the Chargers now currently sitting at the 6th seed are looking very, very nice, of course, of which the Chargers at this point would be facing the Baltimore Ravens, which I think we've said for a couple of weeks now is the most likely playoff scenario going forward. It was last week, continues to be that going this week. But it's not impossible for the Chargers to maybe face, the Steelers or some other team moving up or down, basing on, if they could move into, I should say, the 5th seed with a little bit of help next week. If the Bengals do beat the Steelers next week, which, again, the Bengals, is that right? Or is it the Steelers? No. Okay. If the Steelers, if the Bengals do beat the Steelers next week, is that right? I think I got things a little bit jumbled up over here because, they're showing the current games here. Of course, Cincinnati already beat the Broncos, which is pretty insane. That game was nuts, dude. I went through and I looked. Let me make sure everything here is refreshed from this week. I don't know why it wouldn't be. But that game was absolutely insane. The Broncos losing to the Cincinnati Bengals, definitely a huge, help for the Bengals to edge their way back into maybe squeaking into the playoffs there at the last second there. But anyway, if things work out for the Chargers, Bengals beat the Steelers next week, and the Chiefs do beat the Broncos, that's who they're playing next week. If those two things come to pass, I think the Chargers' chances of taking the 5th seed go way, way up. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's where we're sitting right now. The Chargers, 6th seed, looking very, very nice. We have clinched a playoff berth. Things are looking awesome. Taking a look real quick, I already went through and kind of did my win-loss prediction, just kind of based on how the teams are performing right now to kind of give you guys an idea of how the seeding may work at the end of the year. If you want to take a look, pause the video, go back here week 17 to finish out these games, and then week 18, this is what we're looking like. The Chargers, more than likely, like I mentioned before, heading towards a sequel to the Harbaugh, which, honestly, guys, some Chargers fans don't like the idea of facing the Baltimore Ravens in the postseason because they handled us so well in the regular season. Of course, the Chargers down J.K. Dobbins and a slew of players, and we're still kind of finding our footing. But me personally, I think I love the narrative so much. I think a second shot at this team is healthy for a Chargers unit that needs to come into their own and prove that they can go up against big boy playoff caliber units, especially one that has already beat us once this year. I think this is good for the Chargers, and I'm all about it. Give me as many Harbaughs as we can get, and I think eventually the Chargers starts, edging out the Baltimore Ravens and finding some success as a staple team in the AFC. I don't know, man. We're heading towards it. I'm not, of course, I think a lot of people would rather play, Pittsburgh or Houston. But right now, I think, if the stars are telling us we're going up against Baltimore, I'm definitely up for the challenge, man. I think the Chargers can take them. And even if they don't or whatever, this has already been a tremendous accomplishment. But at this point, man, things are moving. Things are grooving. Watch out. Here come the Bolts. Here's that first segment of the video from this game that really does speak well for what the Chargers could be looking like as a unit going into the postseason. This team is moving, man. And this is something I mentioned in my last video and leading up into games like the Broncos and the final stretch of games here in December and January. Momentum to me is something that can't be measured, but can determine the fate of a team's success in almost every single sport. I think momentum is one of the most important aspects to every game out there, whether it be sports or video games or strategy or whatever. Momentum can often be king. And in the case of the Chargers, I think this is going to be a huge, huge help for these Bolts going into the postseason, not just with some confidence, but with some, reaffirmation, with some identity, with some heat. This is going to be awesome. This is why I'm so excited to maybe potentially play, the Baltimore Ravens again in Harbaugh number 2, because watch out, this team is steamrolling right now. A 40-7 win is awesome in terms of confidence, momentum, domination. That's all the things that you want to see. And I'm really happy that the first team that we're bringing that to is the Vegas Raiders next week. We have some unfinished business from last year, man. I don't know about you. The whole narrative of the Raiders 63-21 and Antonio Pierce is better than Jim Harbaugh and all the things and all the statements that were made by Raiders fans this year, and then seeing just how incredibly it has all blown up in their face, it makes me so excited for this Week 18 matchup versus the Raiders. Which could end up, let's be honest, at this point, I want to see another blowout. I want to see another 40-7, another 30-10 or some kind of score like that, just to really bring it back down to earth for Raiders fans. Nah, guys, this is to get comfortable, because now in the AFC West, the basement is where you live, and you will be living for a while. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Mahomes, Bo Nix all of a sudden, who's being great. Justin Herbert. You're going to have to really figure out something to get out of the basement of the AFC West, and to put that stamp on the last game would be awesome. But also in generating momentum going into the postseason, into that wild card game, I think is super important. And will give the Chargers even more of a chance at taking down the Baltimore Ravens at this time. So watch out, man. Here come the Bolts. The defense are starting to come into form, very familiar to what they looked like in the first half of the season. The offense is moving and grooving. We find some real confidence in rookie lad McConkey. J.K. Dobbins coming back is a huge deal to this offense. Jim Harbaugh is coaching his tail off. And then, of course, Justin Herbert. is on a roll. The next segment right here, Herbert is on a roll, man. This dude, for one, something that you'll notice in this photo and pretty much his last half stretch of games this year, I think after that ankle injury was behind him, he definitely decided to uncork it and or I should say uncork it, but I should say let loose, cut loose, and go out there and run the football a little bit. This has been something you see a lot from him in the last stretch of games. Justin Herbert's running the football very, very well. As a matter of fact, let's go back real quick and take a look at the score here, right? How much did Justin Herbert rush for in this game? Not that it matters too much. Justin Herbert, 12 yards. It's there, right? Justin Herbert, where it wasn't there before, it is there now. Justin Herbert is on a roll. He's finding a lot of success at moving the football, whereas, a few weeks ago, and this is, again, something that he displayed versus Denver, a very, very good defense. He really is finding ways to convert, move the football, score. The Chargers' red zone percentage has got to be going up. The Chargers' scoring percentage has got to be going up. With the past couple of games, Chargers, stacking the score versus Denver, and now the New England Patriots. The offense has to have a different outlook now, right? As Chargers fans, let me ask you guys in the comment section, how are you feeling about the offense all of a sudden? That midway through the season, I think all of us would agree this offense stunk, right? It was putrid. Nobody was excited. Or I should say, very few people were excited to see what the ceiling of this offense could end up being. Well, now the Chargers, which again, some people will say, oh, it's the Patriots. Patriots have some good aspects to their defense, but we also just did this to the Broncos, okay? And the Broncos are a very good defense. The offense really may have found its footing behind a Justin Herbert late, momentum swing. And this is something very real and something that I talked about in my last video. When Justin Herbert gets on a heater, he'll stay on that heater for 4 or 5 weeks, right? And then maybe he'll see a few cold games. Maybe there could be a cold stretch of 2 or 3 games before he gets back on track. But it really feels like he found it versus the Broncos last week. And his heater's going to continue. And honestly, what a better time to do so. Let's go out there and stomp the Raiders lights out next and then keep that heater going into the postseason. Maybe we can catch a dub or 2 in the postseason, man. I'd be super happy about that. I don't know. If he had played the whole game, I'm very confident that he would have broken 350 yards, maybe even more. Of course, he did put up 281 yards, 3 scores, even after getting sat. I think it was the last 10 minutes of the game when Taylor Heineke came in and played backup for the Chargers. This is great, man. And also, not to Justin Herbert. I think we're all so used to this that sometimes we forget to even mention it. Justin Herbert just broke another record, y'all. Herbert breaks record for most passing yards in first 5 seasons, passing Peyton Manning for that record. Herbert's on a roll. He's on a heater, and I think that momentum is building up. And when your quarterback is hot, your chances of winning football games go way, way up. And I want to see that continue into the postseason. On the defensive side of the football, my oh my, we got to talk a little bit about Derwin James. It feels like every time I saw the defense on the field, Derwin was doing something insane. Yeah, he was out there. He recovered that fumble, right? I think Drake May had a pitch go bad. Derwin James was the one that picked it up. They played him from the edge a lot this week, which resulted, I think he got 2 sacks in this game, which brings him up to a new career high of 5.5 sacks on the season, which, guys, for a safety, them's is big numbers. That is very, very impressive. Not to mention, the interceptions and how well he plays in coverage. Obviously, we all know that. Derwin has been a force from, what do they call it? The X position, right? The X position, the DB lining up at edge. He's been absolutely fantastic, and they ran it a lot this week. What does that spell for the future? I don't know. But this guy was just an absolute unit. There was that I think it was the second sack, right? Derwin James comes off the edge. They have their running back in there to chip block for Drake May, and he absolutely runs him over. If you guys haven't seen the highlight for that yet, I would highly recommend it, dude. Derwin James just bulldozes that dude and ate Drake May for lunch, man. It was awesome. A display of football dominance in number 3. Oh! Derwin James was playing some football on Saturday, man. That was a huge, huge game for him. Super fun as a Chargers fan to watch him get to work and really churn out some big plays. Derwin feels like, just like Justin Herbert, Derwin feels like he's on, right? And when Derwin is on, when Derwin is hot, you got yourself a very dangerous weapon on defense for the Chargers to utilize, man. Derwin James, huge game for him. Hope to see that, again, continue into the postseason. Back to offense for a second, man. This, to me, is a huge deal. and one that I think often goes overlooked. Now, of course, J.K. Dobbins, welcome back. Did not have his biggest game of the season, right? What was it? It was 70-something yards. Let me go back here and see. J.K. Dobbins, 76 yards on 19 carries and a touchdown. Super respectable game, right? Very solid, something that we saw all the time from him at least, right? While he was healthy, of course, just coming back from IR. He's missed the last 4 weeks. Was it just 4? Definitely a big deal having this guy back. Because it feels like, as great as J.K., or I should say, as great as Gus Edwards, Monty Vidal did while waiting for J.K. to return, as well as that effort was, it feels different when J.K. Dobbins is on your football field. It really does. And this is something that I have talked about a lot on this channel. I was at the Harbaugh, the first matchup between the Chargers and the Baltimore Ravens earlier in the season, where J.K. did go down. And it really felt like the offense, although looking good at times, didn't really get back to that form where J.K. Dobbins was your lead back, where J.K. Dobbins was creating yards and creating, for lack of a better term, a run game for this team. And it feels like he really has come back and spearheaded a very, stable foundation for this offense to build on. Because a Jim Harbaugh offense without a running game is going to be very difficult to gain momentum, very difficult to gain success with. And J.K. Dobbins coming back, I think, is a huge deal. And again, the yards aren't going to scream at you, but they were very good. 76 yards and touchdowns, still a very, very good week. But it's something that, again, opens up so much more of the offense. Watch out. Here comes Justin Herbert on the play action. Watch out. Here comes Ladd McConkey and other weapons, Quentin Johnson, Josh Palmer. The tight ends have been coming back. Will Dissly. Like, everything kind of works when J.K. Dobbins is on the field, providing stability for your run game. He's a very good running back. Proof in the pudding that this team needs good, great, if not elite running back talent to really become the engine of this offense. There's your quarterback, which is like the number one. This is the biggest thing that makes your offense work. But in this offense in particular, I feel like the running back can really help swing things one way or another. And J.K. Dobbins coming back is such a huge deal and such good news for this offense going forward that I hope he continues. Because, again, this is his first game back, and he put up 76 and a tutty. I think, again, he can go all over the Vegas Raiders this upcoming week and get him hot before the postseason, too. Like, this is a very important aspect of the offense, and it's so good to see him back. And I hope he can stay on the field and really make a case for himself this year, which he already has, for Comeback Player of the Year come the NFL awards later on at the top of 2025. All right. Speaking of which, man, holy crap, dude. Speaking of weapons that really help the offense run, this dude has been everything I dreamt about in terms of looking at him as a prospect. He was literally, outside of Malik Neighbors, as far as like realistic draft targets for the Chargers, my favorite target for the Bolts in 2024. Ladd McConkey was kind of the staple player you saw drafted all over my channel. And when we decided to pull the trigger on him, not just pull the trigger on him, but trade up to acquire and then pull the trigger on him, I've absolutely lost my mind. And to see him come in and be the Chargers' best rookie receiver in franchise history in a few metrics really validates all that hype. And man, dude, it is honestly just so cool to watch how all of this has unfolded, man. Ladd McConkey, the new Chargers wide receiver 1, has been on a roll this season. He just broke records this last week for most receptions by a Chargers rookie wide receiver, passing Keenan Allen, who previously had 71 receptions. Now, after this game, Ladd McConkey has 77 receptions, holding the new record as the Chargers rookie wide receiver with most receptions in their first year. He also broke most yards, by the way. Keenan Allen, who previously held it with 1,046, was surpassed by Ladd McConkey with 1,054, and he still has one game. I understand there's one more game since the Keenan Allen days, it's 17 instead of 16. But even without that game, Ladd McConkey's already beaten it, and he still has one more game to pad that even a little bit more. I think he's going to end, honestly, crazy enough, dude. This is insane to think about. Ladd freaking McConkey should end with at least 1,100 yards. in 2024. For a rookie wide receiver, man, that absolutely blows my mind. It validates all of the big moves that the Chargers made in terms of, moving on from older wide receivers, big contracts, and bringing in, these young guys that jive with Justin Herbert. Like, this is unbelievable. I could not be happier for Ladd McConkey, for the team, and it's only going to get better as we continue to add more help at wide receiver for Justin Herbert. And yes, Ladd McConkey down the road. Ladd McConkey is such a huge, I'm going to have to say, thorn in the side now of the New England Patriots, man. This is something that Boltbeat posted that I have to share with you guys before we end the video. Oh, dude, imagine being a New England Patriots fan right now. This has got to be painful. Now, if you guys don't remember, the Chargers, in order to get Ladd McConkey, traded up to get him with the New England Patriots. We ended up trading a later pick, trading down, and anyway, the pick swapped resulted in these players. The Chargers went up and got Ladd McConkey, who now has a Chargers franchise record with 1,054 yards, 77 receptions, and is well on his way to maybe even breaking the touchdown record, or at least second place past Keenan Allen. Then, with that same pick that they traded and acquired from the New England Patriots, they got Tariq Still, who has 4 interceptions, maybe one of the best defensive rookies of the season. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And then you'll take a look behind me. They got Javon Baker, another wide receiver, with that pick that the Chargers traded with them. At pick 110, insanity, dude. And Jalen Polk hasn't, panned out either. That's got to be a massive, massive sinking feeling for Patriots fans, especially the Patriots GM, man. The Chargers, as the Boltbeat Twitter account put it, absolutely fleeced the Patriots in that trade. To wrap up the video, a couple of things to note, man. Darius Davis, another big week for him. I'll say another big play for him, right? Do we have something here? I don't know, man. Is he on the rise? Of course, he only accounted for 29 yards, but also an insane touchdown. He's getting loose, man. And the reason we're saying, hey, easy on the rise is because, this is his second week in a row doing it. He did the same thing versus the Broncos a week previous. Darius Davis, we might have something here. You guys will remember he's got 4.3 speed. He's a speed demon. He's also a kickoff specialist. He had a pretty good game this week. I don't know. Let's keep kicking the tires on that. Let's see what this looks like in Week 18, how much more we can get involved going into the postseason, because he's looking like a big play threat, which, honestly, you getting more involved, having that kind of success, I want to see a little bit more of it. Congratulations, too, to Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. This is what we all envisioned when Khalil Mack was signed to the roster a few years ago, right? How is Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack going to shake out for this team? Well, this week, man, we kind of got a nice little preview of it. I know we were all hoping to see this for the last few seasons, consistently, but injury, of course, didn't let that happen. But seeing this, this photo makes me very happy. And right now, honestly, it feels like both of these guys are on the rise. Bosa, for most part of the season, was, battling an injury or multiple injuries that were keeping him off the field. He looks good now. Hey, whatever your stance is on Joey Bosa, you have to admit, the guy looks good all of a sudden. And then combined with Khalil Mack, and these guys are yucking it up and high-fiving after the sack and everything. These dudes are on. And that's exactly, again, the timing of this is perfect as the Chargers are rounding the corner into the postseason. Congratulations to these dudes. But congratulations to no more than Jim Harbaugh as well, man. This team is being coached so well in the past few weeks. Can we all agree on that? This team, despite some fumbles here and there, and some or I should say stumbles here and there, and some questionable decision making in the middle of the season, Jim Harbaugh has been on a roll the last month of football. He's been awesome. I think it really did start with that free kick decision last week versus the Broncos, one of the craziest things I've ever seen, displaying his great knowledge of the game and the ability to act on it in the moment. And it's been kind of rolling since then, man. He's been letting Cameron Dicker cook, right? Really reining in the decision making. Okay, here we go. We got one of the best kickers in the league. Let's utilize him. As well as fourth down, we got momentum. We got reasons to go for it, and the Chargers being 2 for 2 last Saturday definitely doesn't look bad either. So, the Chargers very well coached, have a crazy good quarterback play right now. The offense is starting to click. The defense is starting to click. Watch out for the Los Angeles Chargers, man. I mean, again, I don't know what the expectations are from Chargers fans. I know at the top of the season, I don't even think it was this many wins for a lot of folks. They'll take a look at my Twitter. I think a lot of Chargers fans did hold the faith even back then, man. You take a look at this is back from September 18th. It said, if you don't think the Chargers are at least a double-digit win team, I invite you to get with the program. I think a lot of everybody had, the same idea. Like, yeah, I think we can do this. I think this is, even in a rebuild year, I think we got this. I think they may end up being better than even what my optimist perspective was telling me they could be, and that's a very dangerous playoff team. Not just going in there and making the postseason, hey, we did it, rebuild year, we're only going to get better, but I think they're actually a threat. And that's very cool to see, man. They got hot at the right time. The Chargers are building momentum at the right time. They're being coached like crazy. They're being quarterbacked like crazy. They're being defensed like crazy. Watch out for the Los Angeles Chargers. Let's go out there and stomp the lights out of the Raiders. Let's build even more momentum going into the postseason. And let's see if we can do something crazy in Harbaugh episode 2, man. I believe the Chargers could do something nuts and set the NFL world ablaze in that wild card game, man. It could be pretty fun. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. And as always, bolt up! Big 76 and stay frosty. Let's go, baby. Build that momentum. And let's not just stomp their lights out. Let's obliterate the Vegas Raiders Week 18.